Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for another installation of the F2 series here in the Rwagnation League. Tonight it's going to be just myself commentating, but we have still got tons of excitement for you in the F2 series. We are here in China. You can see the names on the right hand side. You've got some good names from previously that you've seen before, and also some returning names that you may remember if any of you were following the Rwagnation League back in Season 1. That being Vanya being the main one. I miss this guy. This guy had exceptional pace back in the day. Haven't really seen him in F1 2019 too much, but he's still pretty quick there. And so with that in mind, I'm going to go on board with him throughout this one-shot qualifying lap. So for those of you that don't know, this is a one-shot qualifying followed by a 25% feature race, followed by a 25% sprint race. Now you think, wow, but 25%, that's a really long time. In F2 it's a lot shorter than that. It's like 8 laps around the first on the feature race, and then about 6 laps in the sprint race. But still very exciting, lots of entertainment nonetheless. The only downside is when we are doing one-shot qualifying, all the cars look like they're ghosted. We can see Vanier is just hovering around about the sort of 6th position mark. Vegas just joined as well, which, if he does take part in this, that would be phenomenal. Again, another OG coming back from the first season. Furball's doing well so far in the last 2 races. He's had a really good time in Bahrain. He had a really good time in Australia. Most notably when it was absolutely pouring it down in one of the sessions, and Furball just seemed to really come to life. Now, looking at it right now, he's still holding on to that. Lawless is right there behind him. He did really exceptional pace in Bahrain, and it looks like it's going to be the two of them going toe-to-toe as we come through to the final sector. Long back straight, and in these cars it's going to feel like an eternity because they don't go anywhere near as fast as the F1 cars do, and they feel a lot heavier. So the braking zone, you'll notice, usually you can brake, as you see the Rolex board there, and they've still done it, but yeah, he's overshot it just a touch. Not too drastic there from Vanier, still going strong, still P6 as it stands, but Lawless has lost a lot of time. He's fallen all the way down to P5. Sloppy McFloppy's up in 2nd with Default and Racebook. They're going toe-to-toe, 3rd and 4th, and Default jumps him, P2. So Furball with a 1:45.212 is 8/10 faster than Default in P2, Sloppy McFloppy in 3rd, Racebook in 4th, and Lawless in 5th. Absinthe got disqualified, so that will mean that he invalidated at some point on the track. Now this track is a tough track. Turn 1 being the hardest part of this track, in my opinion at least anyway. Obviously in F2 cars even harder with all the understeer. So Furball is the pole sitter. He takes P1 with Default in 2nd, Sloppy in 3rd, Racebook 4th with Lawless in 5th, Vanier 6th, Bottas Gang in 7th, Nixana 8th, Overspeed 9th, Noosa in 10th, Raven Duck in 11th, Absinthe in 12th, and Piloto Paya in 13th. The last 2 did get disqualified, which will be purely down to invalidated laps. Here we go. Waiting for the next step. So remember, this is going to be a 25% feature race for F2, which is around about 7 or 8 laps. It varies obviously dependent on the track. And then you have the sprint race after, which is again is another 25%. Now the drivers are on the track now in their grid boxes. They're just thinking about their strategy and how they're going to go about and do this. This is going to be a no-stop race. It's not enough laps to do a full go for a pit stop. So they can actually just continue as they are. They may chuck one in if they have any damage. I mean, looking into sort of the hairpin at the end of the long back straight, there's easily an opportunity there for a lockup or into the back of someone. Carrying too much pace, not quite sure the braking zones, because like I say, it's so different to F1. But yeah, here we go. Slow delay. Oh, there we go. Got nervous there for a second. So we have the formation lap. Furball is going to be leading all of the cars away here. Up to this snail-like turn 1. The engine sounds are so good for the F2 cars. I really like that. Interestingly, all drivers have gone for the mediums. That will take them all the way to the end without a doubt. Oh, yellow flag in sector 1, is that? Oh, Raven Duck. That's who made that mistake there. Vegas at the back of the pack here. Starting the grid in 14th place. Obviously missed out on qualifying, hence the reason he's down there. But this guy is someone who... Oh, who's that? It's not Piloto. Is that Raven Duck? It's not Raven Duck. It's not absolutely... Oh, look at all the cars that are back on the starting line. It's not Noosa, not Overspeed, not Lixana. All these cars that are still here. Raven Duck getting away. I really want to see what Vegas can bring to the table. I mean, he's only had the game about a day and a half, so he's not really had too much time to put any practice into it. He's just going to give it everything he's got today. But he has obviously got a load of transferable skills from previous games, and he was incredibly fast in F1 2018. But when it comes to racing in these conditions, you're going to be finding yourself in a lot more trouble. There's Raven Duck cutting that corner just a little bit. They need to think about getting the tyres as warm as possible, because the start here today on this Chinese track is going to be crucial. The jump up to turn 1, you're not necessarily going to want to dive all the cars in turn 1, but you need to make sure you have the grip going round the corner, because if you don't, it's so easy to lose the car, end up running wide, or potentially end up running into the side of another car. But now we are seeing the cars coming up to the final few corners, getting ready to reset themselves, and those that are on the track in the grid boxes already, they will be starting the race with very cold tyres. There's no way that they'll be getting off to a great start, so there might be a few collisions off the start. I'm going to go on board with Sloppy McFloppy for this start, because this guy is fast. I mean, he's connecting to us all the way from over in America. I think he's the only American here, but lights are on now. We're about to get underway with the feature race, 25% here in China, and very delayed start there, but we are eventually away, and Furball immediately gets away to a nice start there. Nothing too severe anywhere else on the track. Default's looking to make moves down the inside. He's not going to be able to get too much space as Lawless is going really far wide. But look at these two down the inside. Sloppy's round wide. There's a bit of contact between the two. And this is going to be him coming right across Default. Nothing more he could have done there. He was just a passenger. But Default's lost out loads of places. Lots of slow cars. Lots of mistakes being made by a lot of the drivers. And Default is seeming to be the one who loses out the most from this. But look at Vegas. He's jumped up to P5 as a result of all the drama that was happening on the first few corners. If he can get up there a little bit faster, he might be able to get past Vanier, who's just ahead of him, alongside of him, sorry. Soft McFloppy is there ahead of him. Might even be able to get himself on a podium step. The first race is the most important one, as that is the one where you get the most points. You can still recover any sort of traction in the second one, in the sprint race, but you really have to push hard if you want to deliver today. So Furball still leading Lollers after having a relatively terrible qualifying. He's really brought himself back into this. There's Vegas just running into the back of him a little bit too deep there. Didn't want to be doing that in these sorts of situations, but he's still going, still strong, no damage at all. And now he's got the long run, slipstreaming, Sloppy McFloppy all the way down up towards the hairpin. Big mistakes there. Where's Vanier? He's gone right off the track there, you can see. Oh, big crash! Big crash. Overspeed gets caught up with the mistake that was made there from Vanier. Here comes Absinthe just looking through the wreckage. Vanier gets punted hard and gets a penalty for the collision between him and Overspeed. I mean, it's a very fair penalty. Vanier rejoined the track very unsafely, was halfway on the track and still doing 1, 2, 3 miles an hour and not able to really get the car moving. Overspeed couldn't see it because it's such a long right-hander. And then a big smash between the two of them, and that is Overspeed out of this feature race. Vanier's still very much in it. He's definitely going to be in trouble though. Absinthe coming into the pits. Has he got wing damage? Is he going to go to softs? That's the other question. We're now on lap 2. Softs are a possibility. Potentially. It'd be great if we could see him do that. Alright, whilst we wait for that to happen, we'll keep an eye up at the front as Lols is chasing down Furball right now. Whoa, that was a really nice smooth corner there from him. I thought he was going to struggle. It looked like he was just braking a bit too late for himself, but no, he managed to keep the car under control enough. And also, I'm seeing Vegas right on the back of Sloppy as well now. DRS is not enabled yet. It is enabled next lap, sorry. And remember, with that long back straight, slipstream and DRS is such a huge factor, especially in these F2 cars. Oh, there's Sloppy McFloppy making a mistake. He runs wide. That's going to bring Vegas now into the mix. Hopefully, he can really pressure Sloppy and actually attack pretty hard coming up towards the hairpin. This exit of this corner is the most crucial one of all of them. He needs to apply as much pressure as he can, but it looks like he's lost a lot of pace. He's now gaining on him, but he's going to be too far back. Not that he's got DRS anyway, but still not really able to properly do much about it. Lawless is closing up on Furball. Yellow flag sector 3 again. Is that Ravenduck? It is. Ravenduck losing the back end, coming round that long right-hander. Luckily managed to keep himself out of all the other cars, so there's no damage, no dramas on this lap. But still lots of work to be done from everywhere else. There's Vegas losing the place to Racebug, who comes flying down the inside. Good move there from Racebug. Really trying to push himself, and Noose has lost it. Where is he? He's lost it off on the right-hand side. That's a big smash there. Oh, no, he's just retired. I thought he actually went off wide, but... no, he's still alive. He's just retired, so he's not happy with his race performance and has decided to retire the car. Further up front now, the gap. Oh, big wobble there from Sloppy. He's really trying to get the power down, and these cars will bite you if you even try it. And now Racebug has Vegas on the back of him. Racebug's going to have to go defensive down the inside. Here comes Vegas trying to go around the outside, maybe get the cut back on him. He's got the cut back, but he's not necessarily got the pace coming out of the corner. So Vegas does lose out just a touch there. Default taking Nixana. Very smoothly done there from Default. Nixana will be trying to recover that. But a lot of work to do there if he wants to do that. I've heard from Noosa the reason he retired is because his pedals are broken. So that is the reason why he has retired from the session. Probably won't be taking part then in the sprint race if that is the case. But I guess we'll be seeing shortly. Furball and Lollers. The gap is starting to extend a little bit now. 6:10 separating the two as it is. Ravenduck's retired. Ravenduck has retired. Let's see where that is. I can only imagine it's on the exit of this right-hander hairpin coming up. Absinthe did go for the softs. Is that Nixana making a mistake as well? No, he's okay. Oh, he did make a mistake. A Bottas gang goes tearing past him. Really making moves now. Racebug's still alive in front of Vegas. Oh, that was a nice little glow there on the brakes. Beautiful stuff. Furball has lost race lead. He's going to be battling through the final corner. I think Furball will have DRS. He does. So now he might be able to make that room back. I doubt it, looking at how much Lawless is actually pulling away from him. He's closing up now. If he can hold the tight line, it's so hard to do around turn 1 in China. But if you can hold the tight line, which he looks like he's going to be trying to do all the way around, he needs to keep this smart and tidy and make sure the exit is crisp and clean. Because if he does it, he will be able to get past him, and it's not going to work out. Furball does lose the place, and Lawless, beautiful overtake there to take the lead. We're still looking for a move down the inside. There was almost a little bit of contact there. I think there was a little nudge, nothing more than that. And it's, you know, all just racing really. Bottas gang is trying to get past Nixana. Just gets a bit too excited on the accelerator, loses out the back end pretty large there. Vanya trying to recover his steps as well. So we saw that major crash between him and Overspeed on the first lap. It looked like, oh, there's a big scrap going on between Furball and Overspeed. Sorry, Furball and Sloppy. Racebug's also involved in this as well. Furball made a huge mistake to be falling this far back now, and he's going to be trying to overcompensate. Here comes Racebug down the inside. He's managed to get the position, and Vegas is really trying to sneak in there as well. If he can use the toe from Racebug, he might actually be able to get past the Furball before he even gets to the DRS zone, but he's not going to be able to just yet. They both will have DRS. And I don't think there's going to be a change of positions, at least at the minute. Furball going to the inside, trying to just fend him off a little bit. Vegas is a bit worried there. They might go into the side of him, but he's managed to get the inside line. It's going to be side by side all the way around the hairpin, but Furball manages to hold on. There'll be another chance for an attack from Vegas as they come through the final corner and the DRS again, but Furball will have DRS also, and it's purely going to be who can get a better line going into turn 1, and we might see a similar situation between Furball and Lawless. But Furball is going to have to try and fix it a little bit. Vegas is trying to do what Furball attempted last lap. He's ran a little bit deep there. There's no room now on the inside, so Furball doesn't have to really surrender anything. And then Vegas will stay exactly where he is. As Vanya and Nixana, both teammates. Nixana's going down the inside. It's going to be running just tidy, actually. Really smoothly through there. No major issues. Back end kick out there from Nixana. That's actually just tickled Vanya enough to make him run wide just a touch. But Nixana trying to get back down the inside. Goes into the side of his teammate. And there was almost major dramas, but they're still together, still clean, and still going strong overall. Vanya. Oh, Nick Steiner gets a nice cut back there. Gets a bit too early on the throttle, a bit too heavy on it, and look at that. That's exactly what happens. You get a little bit too aggressive, and Vanya will be able to capitalize on that and just run away. There is a very large battle going on from P1 right the way down to P5, and Default's not that far off of joining this. 1.1 seconds is the gap between him and Vegas, and it's slowly coming down. Vegas does have DRS though, so he is going to be able to utilize that to bring himself further away, whereas Furball now is the closest of this bunch to the car in front, Racebook. Racebook is a little bit too far back to really capitalize on the slipstream from the car ahead, which is his teammate Sloppy. Furball is still live. Lawlers getting a 2-second time penalty for extending track limits does mean then that there is a possibility he loses 2, maybe 3 places as a result of that penalty. He has to pull a gap now, has to take off. And Lawlers, it does say he's behind. Oh, he has. Has he just had major lag issues there and just dropped right the way down to P6? He's left. He must have done. He must have had issues where he's just lost connection or something and falls right the way down the order now. So the battle has sort of changed quite dramatically now. It was Lawlers leading all of these, and it's actually now Sloppy who's leading this, and he's almost breaking DRS on his teammate Racebook, who's just 0.8 behind him. Furball is half a second behind him. He's actually broken DRS now, so when it comes to the back straight, if it stays the way it is right now, Racebook will be in trouble, as Furball is safe from Vegas, but also has the ability to push hard. Racebook will not have anything other than his ERS to work with, and he can't really do it. He can't do anything with that either. All right, Default's managing to get up to P5. I'm going to actually have a look at the biggest winners and the biggest losers so far. So, biggest winner, naturally, is Vegas. Started dead last due to missing qualifying. He's there in P4 now. 10 places gained, so really solid stuff from him. Default is only just the biggest loser. He's lost 3 places since the start of the race. So he sits P5 currently, but he's looking very hard to try and change that. Has fallen back quite a fair bit. We need to look further upfield as Furball isn't actually able to really do anything about the fact that he has DRS on Racebook. He does have better slipstream than Racebook did as well. Furball just getting a little bit too excited there on the throttle. He might be able to recover it going through the final corner as long as he doesn't do a similar situation. Racebook ran serious wide there. Oh, the car actually lifted up quite far there considering how much he got onto the curb. Really wasn't expecting it to be as tragic as that. But it's lap 7 now of lap 8. Sloppy still leading, Racebook still chasing, and Furball right on his back end, and Vegas has actually dropped off for this battle quite a considerable amount. 2 seconds is the gap now between Vegas and Furball, and you can see in this second, there he is, there's Vegas coming around the final, that corner there. Want to see Furball somehow jump Racebook. If he can pass Racebook physically on the track, he might be able to do something on Sloppy, but he'll have to do it soon. He has to pass Racebook this lap if he wants to have a stab at a Sloppy on the next lap, because the next lap is going to be the final one. Not much more to say or do about that. Vegas actually brings the time down a little bit. 1.8 seconds is the gap now between him and Furball, but still it's going to be too much to ask for, I think. It's just gone back up again there. Didn't quite get the move he wanted. Is that Absinthe that's made a mistake? No, it's Nick Sana coming out of turn 2, I guess. And that's a big mistake there from Nick Sana. He's lost him a fair bit of time, but he's already P10 in the final points position. And Absinthe is just too far back to really capitalize on this. Unless Nick Sana makes the same mistake again. I've heard from Lawlers that his PC had a blue screen of death, which is very unfortunate. He was doing really well, and then that was it. It just all fell apart for him there. Furball getting so quick onto Racebook, almost goes straight into the back of him. He's going to have lost a fair bit of time from that situation. Yeah, a whole half a second on that, just that one mistake alone. He needs to really recover it, but now it looks like he's trying to recover it too much. Cut that corner a fair bit. Don't think there's going to be any warning of any kind, but it is suggesting he's trying to push extra hard to recover his steps and try to get up there with Racebook again. Now he knows lap 8 of 8, he didn't make the move happen in the braking zone of the hairpin, and now Racebook really turning the pressure onto his teammate now. 4:10 separates the two of them. This is going to be the final lap. They're all really committed to getting these points because they know how important this first race is. They have to give it absolutely everything if they want to achieve. I think we're going to be seeing that happen anytime soon. Default also brought himself into the battle with Vegas. He might actually be able to recover a position that he lost on the start. But Furball's now fallen outside of the DRS somehow on these two drivers ahead. He brought himself just about back into it, but he needs to really apply pressure now. Otherwise, he's not going to make it to P2, especially if he's running wide like that. This battle now is going to be all about first and second. Which one of the two of them is it going to be? As Racebug makes a big mistake there in the entrance to that left-hander. Now he needs to make sure his exit of this corner is perfect, as he already lost a lot of time. Furball is going to be able to capitalize on this. He's so close to the back of Racebug now. Slipstream is massive for him. DRS is going to be available to him in just a second. You can already see he's gaining on him so quickly. Racebug has DRS as well, but Furball has so much more pace than him because of how much better exit he got. Racebug does have the inside line. They're going to be side by side as they come into the hairpin. Who will benefit the most from it? They are still keeping it together. Just lost the back end. Racebug loses the place to Furball. There's also a battle going on further back for Default and Vegas. They are going side by side, coming up towards the final corner. Are they going to keep it together and cleanly enough? Vegas is going to have to take the wide line. He's ran wide on the track, and that means Default is in P4. Sloppy wins the race. Furball takes second. Racebug third. Default takes fourth. Vegas in fifth. Piloto will come across the line and take sixth, with Lawless in seventh due to his blue screen of death. He's not actually here, I don't believe. Oh, he might have rejoined, potentially. Vanya there in 8th, Bottas Gang in 9th, and Nixana, if he can make it. I mean, he's got Absinthe quite the way back, but if he makes one more mistake, then he might actually get in. I don't have the ability to invite, unfortunately, Lawless, because it's an invite only. It would mean that somebody in the session would need to invite you already. So anybody who's in the session and has either retired or finished the race, please, if you can, invite Lawless. That would be greatly appreciated. I don't think I can do it. Oh. What a race that was. That was really end-to-end all the way. And yeah, there you go. Sloppy McFloppy on the top step. Very proud of himself for that one. His teammate tried his best to hold on to P2, but Furball just managed to capitalize on the mistakes that were made from Racebug. And P2 sits where he is now, and P3 being Racebug. Let's have a little rundown of all the drivers. I'm going to just try and see if I can... Don't think I can. No, don't have the... Well, I might be able to do it in here. Can I do it in here? Nope. 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 Can't do anything in it. Ooh, don't want to do that. Alright, here we go. So, the results are Sloppy takes first, Furball in second, Racebug third, Default fourth, Vegas in fifth, Piloto in sixth, with Lawless in seventh, Vania takes 8th, Bottas Gang takes 9th, Nixana takes 10th with Absinthe in 11th, and then the DNFs were Ravenduck, Noosa, and Overspeed. And Overspeed obviously leaving in tragic fashion with that massive crash into the back of Vania. Some penalties were applied. Vania getting the 3-second for that crash. Lawless obviously getting the 2-second for extending track limits. I don't think it was actually him that did it though. But there's the points rundown as it stands. So remember, the first round is always the one that gets you the most points, but you do get extra points if you have the fastest lap. Furball gets those 2 points for that. It's now a question of how many points can you get from round 2. You won't get a huge amount, and it's looking dry, which is good for the most drivers. All the drivers are going to be much happier with themselves, given the fact that they are able to keep it together the way that they are through that first race. But when you get to this one, you know you can really push extra hard, but you know those like Sloppy McFloppy, they need to really think about the points positions. They can't afford to be really losing out. In order for Furball to win, I mean, he gets the qualifying points as well as the fastest lap points from the last race, so he actually has a little jump start on catching back up to Sloppy. But Furball needs to win, and Sloppy, I think, needs to come third, if I remember correctly, in order for Furball to win. So there's a lot to ask here from Furball, and he's going to be really committed to trying to deliver that. We do have another formation lap. So a very sort of sporadic change of tyres there. You got default on mediums, along with Bottas, Gang, Nixana, Absinthe and Overspeed, and everyone else has decided they were going to go onto the soft tyres. That's interesting to say the least. Alright. So Vanya is going to be leading this, and with Piloto in second. Vegas has got... and now I'm confused because there's no number 2. There's no number 2 at all. I imagine it was Lawler's. Is he even in the list? No, he's not. Interesting. Right. Well, we'll come back to that later, I guess. But yeah, so there's 13 drivers, not 14, due to Lawler's not being able to race due to his computer blue screening. But it is going to be another exciting one nonetheless. You can guarantee that one. I'm so ready for this. This is going to be entertainment at its finest. Knowing how hard these guys are going to be pushing, and the fact obviously it's reversed grid, does mean that we are going to be seeing lots of attacking opportunities from all of the drivers. I really want to see Vegas push himself extra hard and try and gain some of these places. That would be really good. Here we go now, final few corners. Oh, Vanya, you didn't want to do that, mate. I mean, there's warming your tyres and then there's making a mistake like that. Alright. So, who was that in the background? Was that Nexana? It was Nexana. Went very wide on that hairpin exit. End up in the gravel as a result. So he's going to have to really rein himself in a little bit if he wants to have a nice clean finish to this race. It's going to be a long one, that's for sure. I mean, 6 laps, but, you know, if you make mistakes like that, that can easily feel like you're doing 9, 10 laps, without a doubt. On the start grid now, just waiting for Overspeed to get in there. Hopefully he can actually make it to the end of this race without getting taken out. That would be very crucial. Here we go, lights are on, and it is lights out, and it's time to get underway with the sprint race here in China. Vanya gets away very clean. Look at the pace he's chucking down. He's leaving them all for dead. Immediately you can see Furball getting attacked there, trying to attack down the inside on default. And Furball's got the inside line. He's going to be able to hold it together. Vanya runs just a touch wide. Vegas is there in second place. Piloto's just on the inside here between the two. Furball trying to get round the outside, but I don't think he's going to be able to get more than just default. He's managed to hold out on default. Oh, big mistake there. That's Nixana getting involved in a crash. That's Bottas Gang as well. They are side by side. And I think that's big damage there on Nixana. Yeah, look at that wing. Front left has been destroyed. Penalty there applied to Nixana as well as his wing damage. And he's retired. So both of these two drivers have retired from the session. Neither of them will be gaining any additional points here. It's going to be now down to the remaining 10 drivers, sorry, as the numbers have now fixed themselves. Vanya is sitting still in race lead position with Vegas sort of hot on his heels. 7-10 separating the two at the minute. But I'm really intrigued to see how Furball is going to be able to push back and make sure he gets past all of the front runners. He needs to get the race win. Sloppy is in a position now where if he doesn't gain any places, he actually will lose the championship to... Oh, who's run wide like that? That has got to have been... Was that... No, maybe Upspeed? I don't know who that was. Someone ran seriously wide into that corner. I mean, we are seeing scrapping going on here between Piloto and Vegas. Vegas is going to be taken down the inside, going into the hairpin. He's managed to get the move... hold the position out, but Piloto's really trying to pressure on Vegas. He's looking for the inside line, but he's not going to be able to get it here. There's still no DRS on this lap, remember. It's lap 3 when we get to see it, so there's still tons of opportunity for attacking, but look how far Vanya is ahead. It's still side by side between Vegas and Piloto. Are they going to be able to keep it tidy through the long right-hander? Piloto will stay in P3 for now. Vegas has got the inside line, but if Piloto gets a quick sprint down the inside, he's not going to be able to get it. Vegas will hold on to P2. Furball is really watching this with both eyes wide open, trying to capitalize on any mistakes, but he can't be paying too much attention to the front, because if he does, he'll miss out on the fact that he has Default coming round the outside. That is a beautiful attempt there, but is he doing it? I think he's, well, he managed to protect himself from Sloppy, but he didn't manage to get past Furball, which is a situation in itself for him. He's still holding out though, still doing well to keep himself where he is. But, you know, on these medium tyres, he will be able to go longer and harder. Oh, Furball's made a mistake there. This is actually going to bring Default into this. Furball, if he runs wide again, a little bit of a twitch there on the back end. Look at Default trying to get around the outside. This is going to be a tough one, but if he can stay side by side all the way around into the right-hander, he will have gained the position. I think he's actually made a mistake there. He has. That was the detection line he's just crossed, so he's ahead of Furball. And I think he's outside of DRS on Piloto. So Furball, with huge slipstream, that means Default's going to have to go defensive. He's got nothing else to do here other than just stay where he is. Oh, there's no DRS. Of course there isn't. Never mind. We're not even on lap 3. All that hype for nothing. Apologies for that. No DRS yet. We have to wait till the end of this lap before we get to see it. There's Piloto looking for a move down the inside. Sloppy, where did he come from? Straight down into the inside of Default. I think there was a little bit of contact between the two of them, but Default stays P4. Sloppy is up in a P5 now, and Furball's trying to get past them. These two are championship contenders. Furball manages to recover the position on him. He has to keep Sloppy behind him in order for him to be able to pull this back. He has to really give everything. Default, very last second, gets in front. Furball loses the back end. What a catch there from Furball, but Sloppy's trying to catch it as well. There's more contact. Sloppy gives him another little tickle there, and that's Furball's back end going wide. And Noosa's also on the back of this little contact fight that's going on. There's still tons of opportunity, tons of stuff happening. And Piloto still attacking Vegas, and Vegas is nowhere near at Vanier at the minute. Vanier's just running away with this. Alright, we got to keep this all together as the two teammates further back, Absinthe and Overspeed, are scrapping, as both of them do have the medium compound tyres, despite the fact it looks like Absinthe has the softs there. So Overspeed, sorry, it looks like he's got the softs. Overspeed actually managing to keep it together a little. Ooh, there was a bit of contact between Absinthe and Overspeed there. Nearly had big issues, but it's still going strong. For everyone else ahead, Racebook has fallen back quite drastically. I'm looking to see if he's got damage. I'm not seeing any. It looks like he's got a fully intact wing. He's just not having as great a race as he did in the last one. And now we're on lap 3. We do have DRS. Vegas has managed to bring himself just within... he's now just outside of the DRS range. I mean, he doesn't have it on this lap, but he got better exit than Vanier did. That's for sure. You can see Piloto really charging down the back straight, trying to bring himself closer as possible. Not quite able to get close enough to attack there, but he might be able to do it on this home straight here. Remember, that's the activation line there. Vegas also has DRS. It's just going to be a battle for the slipstream. It will be favoured towards Piloto from that respect, but Default really chucking in some lap times means that it won't be long before we see him right there. There he is already, look, right on the back of Piloto. And he might be able to capitalise on any mistakes from either of these two in front. Might be able to get past them. We saw him do that with Furball. We saw Sloppy do that on Default and Furball. But Default managed to pull it back and get ahead of Sloppy. And Furball is in trouble. Remember, Furball has to finish ahead of Sloppy in order for him to win this. He's not going to be able to do that though. As it stands, yellow flag, sector 2. That's Noosa. He looks like he's just lost it. Remember, he does have pedal issues. Yep, that's him now, retiring from the session as a result. The pedal issues have just been too much for him now. Vegas is in trouble. Here comes Piloto looking for an opportunity on Vegas. Nothing more is going to happen here other than Piloto trying his best to close up, ready for the detection line. He's already going to have DRS, that's for sure, but Default's right on the back of this. He might be able to slipstream past both of them with the fact that he's going to have double car slipstream. Both of the cars ahead will have DRS, that's for sure, but if he gets such a solid exit, he might actually be able to do this. Piloto is in trouble already. He was on the attack on Vegas on the last lap and the lap before, but now he's under attack himself from Default, who's going to be slowly pushing past him. He's going to have the inside line as well, but it's going to be really tight for Default. Piloto breaks early, looking for a cutback. There's contact between Default and Vegas. Default manages to just get ahead of Vegas. Very aggressive attack there, but he's still ahead. Oh, Vegas just clips the back end of Default. He might actually be able to capitalize on the fact how close he is. Just he's so gentle on the exit there. And Default setting the fastest lap again. But Vegas now has to sit back as Piloto is trying to go for it. He made a mistake there, and that's actually going to cost him a lot of time. And Sloppy is coming through on this as well. And Furball might even like to get in on the action as well if he's got the opportunity. A little bit of contact there between Sloppy and Vegas. Nothing more than that. I don't think there's any damage anywhere on these cars. But Furball can't do what he needs to, which is really get past these cars and get himself ahead of big mistake there from Overspeed, just going around turn 1. I think he got a little bit too excited on the accelerator and loses the back end again. Furball though, right here on Piloto, who is having such a great start to this race. Lap all the way up from the very first lap, he was battling with Vegas for P2, and now he's fallen right down the order and ends up, as it stands, P5. And it's all going to be down to Furball, really, to sort of change that. He just hit that curb a little bit too hard, and he lost the time. There's Piloto running seriously wide, getting a bit too aggressive on the accelerator, and there goes Furball now, up into P5. Good stuff from him. Sloppy McFloppy on the back of Vegas. Vegas just outside of the DRS range on Default, which means now Vegas is in trouble, and Sloppy might be able to do what is needed to secure the championship win over the weekend. This is going to be a rough one. There's the DRS wing wide open now. The scrap is going to have to carry on all the way up towards the hairpin. There's actually a battle going on as well for P1. We have to quickly jump to that as Default's looking for a move down the inside of Vanias cleanly this time, but a little bit too aggressive on the accelerator. And Vegas gets a penalty for running a little bit too wide. 2 seconds. That will cost him only 1 place though as it stands. And Piloto will get that position back on Vegas if he doesn't get a penalty himself. But Sloppy's run wide. DRS wing wide open. Yellow flag sector 3. It's not Overspeed. No, it's still a fair way back there. Vania's lost a place to Default, though. Default's managed to get around the outside of turn 1. This is still going, though. This is a long turn 1, remember. A little bit of touch in there between the two of them, but nothing too serious. Default will hold on to race lead now. And Vania, who had a really solid start, is going to have to figure something out if he wants to pull this back. Vegas, in a similar situation, was up there in P2, has fallen to P4. Sloppy has managed to get himself up there and in a position where Furball will not be in reach of being able to snatch the race, the weekend victory away from Sloppy. Sloppy's just driving so cleanly, so quickly, and Vegas might be able to take something away from him, but with the way that his time delta is getting larger, it looks like it might not be the case, and Overspeed's race is just going from bad to worse. A 3-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane is not something you want in this sort of situation, but we are on the final lap, remember. This is going to be the final sprint down the back straight, and then the final sprint down the home straight as well. Vania is now outside of DRS range, so Default looks like he has taken this, unless he makes a big mistake out of the hairpin. Sloppy. Oh, there's Vania running wide now. This is Sloppy. His opportunity to take P2 away from Vania is this moment right now. He has got DRS, whereas Vania does not. 5 tenths is the gap right now. Vegas is just a bit too far off. He's got no chance of going for it. Sloppy needs to make sure he gains as much pace through this corner as possible. Vania runs wide. Sloppy's going to be getting on the gas as much as possible and trying to push, but Vania's managed to hold on just enough now. Default comes around the final corner. Big mistake there from Vania. Sloppy almost goes into the back of him as a result of it, and you can see Default's taking the win. Vania takes P2. Sloppy takes 3rd. Vegas takes 4th but gets knocked down due to penalties and goes 5th, and Piloto takes that position from him. Furball will cross the line and take 6th, and Racebug, it will take 7th. Absinthe will take 8th, and we do have to wait just a little while for Overspeed, who obviously had a lot of issues in the first race, and then quite similarly a lot of issues in the second race. But here he is now, slowly coming through. I mean, this guy is incredible, has done a phenomenal job for the Rwagnation League, not necessarily on track, but all the support that he's given us. Beautiful stuff from there. I'm waiting to see Overspeed charge down. He's not going to get the fastest lap. He's already had a lot of issues and a pit stop as well to go with it. Nice little weave there. But we need to talk about the race overall. Default. Let's actually have a look at the position changes. So the biggest winner is Sloppy McFloppy, tied with Overspeed, who's managed to gain 5 places. But Sloppy actually obviously finishing in front of the others. on track, and they will actually take the race weekend as well. The second biggest winner is Default with 4 places gained, and then it's a tied biggest loser, and they're all only losing 1 place each. Overspeed crossing the line in style, reversing across. There he is. Good stuff indeed. There it is, that's Default, top step of the podium in his beautiful outfit there. And that's the car that helped him do it, hoisting his trophy high. And we're going to have a look now at the overall weekend results. So for that race, the sprint race, it was obviously Default who took the win and the fastest lap points as well to go with it. Vanya in second, Sloppy in third, Piloto in fourth with Vegas in fifth, Furball in sixth, Racebook seventh, Absinthe eighth, Overspeed 9th, Noosa, Nixana and Bottas Gang are your DNFers for the race. The weekend results, Sloppy McFloppy takes the first place away, and by some margin, Default manages to get a nice solid result in first and second race, and then the additional fastest lap points for the last one brings him up to P2, 1 point ahead of Furball. Racebook takes 4th, Vegas takes 5th, and Piloto takes 6th. Vanya takes 7th, Bottas Gang takes 8th, Nixana in 9th, Absinthe in 10th, and then tied for 11th is Overspeed and Noosa. Well, that is it for the F2 race. Stay tuned because the F1 race will start in around about 15 minutes. So we're just going to go to a nice stream starting screen, and we'll see you shortly.